In 1882, a scientist walked into a room in Berlin with a guinea pig, and by the end of that night, he had discovered the cure for a disease that had been killing 1 out of every 7 people on Earth. That scientist won the Nobel Prize. The guinea pig got called a starter pet. This video is about correcting that. Because the animal most people keep in a cage in the corner of a child's bedroom has one of the most extraordinary histories of any creature that has ever lived alongside human beings. It was dressed in jewelry by an ancient empire that considered it sacred. It helped defeat a disease that killed 1 billion people. And it orbited this planet in a Soviet rocket before almost any living creature had ever done so. You don't know this animal, not yet. But by the end of this video, you will never see it the same way again. 7,000 years ago, the people of the Andes made a decision that would change history. They stopped hunting guinea pigs and started living with them. By 5000 BC, guinea pigs weren't just animals. They were family, living inside homes, part of daily life, part of the culture. And then the Inca Empire rose, the most powerful civilization in the Americas, Machu Picchu, 4,000 kilometers of empire. A civilization that conquered mountain ranges no other people had crossed. And at the center of their most sacred rituals, their offerings to the gods, was the guinea pig. Not because they were cheap, because they were precious enough to give away. But nothing prepared anyone for what archaeologists found in 2019. Buried beneath the floors of an ancient Incan building in Peru, 100 guinea pigs. Mummified, 400 years old. He paused, then looked closer. Every single one of them was wearing jewelry, colorful earrings, woven necklaces, each one carefully positioned, heads up, facing the world, as if laid to rest with love. The most powerful empire in human history dressed their guinea pigs before offering them to their gods. Not because they were unimportant, because they mattered. And this is only where the story begins, because what happened next, in a small secret laboratory in Berlin, would take this animal somewhere nobody expected. That's how many people in Europe were dying from tuberculosis in 1882. Not 1 in 100, not 1 in 50, 1 in 7. Nobody knew what caused it. 3,000 years of death, and no answer. Until a doctor locked himself in a room with a microscope and guinea pigs. His name was Robert Koch. His laboratory was a curtained-off corner of his own living room. No funding, no team, just glass slides, culture tubes, and guinea pigs. He took material from the lungs of dying tuberculosis patients and introduced it into guinea pigs. They developed the disease. Identical symptoms, every time. He then purified the bacteria and introduced it into healthy animals. Same disease, every animal, without exception. In that curtained-off living room, the guinea pig had just cracked a mystery 3,000 years old. On March 24th, 1882, Koch walked into the Berlin Physiological Society and laid out everything. Microscopes, slides, 372 days of secret work. He spoke for over an hour, and when he finished, silence. One of the greatest scientists in the room later said it was the most important evening of his entire scientific life. Slowly, the audience rose and walked to Koch's microscopes to see the tuberculosis bacterium for the first time in human history. Within months, Robert Koch's name was known in every household on Earth. He won the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 1905 because of what happened in that living room. Because of those guinea pigs. And here's the thing nobody ever mentions. That phrase you use every single day, being a guinea pig, meaning a test subject, an experiment, a volunteer. It exists in the English language because of this moment, not as an insult, as a monument. And here's where the story takes one more turn. Because 79 years after that silent room in Berlin, someone decided to send a guinea pig somewhere even more extraordinary. March 9th, 1961. 6:29 in the morning. Baikonur Cosmodrome, Kazakhstan. A Vostok K rocket sits on the launch pad, engines warming. Inside the capsule, a mannequin named Ivan Ivanovich, built to test the ejection system. A dog named Chernushka, dozens of mice, and one guinea pig. The world's first guinea pig cosmonaut. This was Sputnik 9, a test flight of the very spacecraft that would carry the first human being into orbit just 33 days later. The Soviet Union was in the final stages of the space race. Every piece of data from this mission was critical. If this flight failed, Yuri Gagarin might never have launched. At 6:29 in the morning, the rocket ignited, the capsule lifted, and a guinea pig left the surface of the Earth. One orbit, 90 minutes above everything that has ever lived on this planet. Then re-entry, parachutes, landing on Soviet soil. Every animal on board, including the guinea pig, came home safely. The data gathered from the living creatures on that flight directly informed the Soviet decision that it was safe to send a human being into orbit. 33 days later, Yuri Gagarin became the first human in space. The guinea pig went back to being a small animal in a cage, but the door to space had been opened, and it had helped push it. 7,000 years. Dressed in jewelry by an empire that considered them sacred enough to offer to the gods. Used by a scientist to crack a disease that had killed 1 billion human beings over 2 centuries, earning him a Nobel Prize and permanently changing the English language. Sent into orbit around planet Earth to help determine whether it was safe for a human being to follow. And tonight, somewhere right now, one of them is sitting in a cage. Being called a starter pet. If you own a guinea pig, look at them differently tonight. Not because they personally defeated tuberculosis or personally orbited the Earth, but because they come from a long, extraordinary line of animals that human beings have underestimated for centuries, and who have kept quietly proving us wrong. Your guinea pig is not just a pet. It never was. If this changed how you see them, even slightly, subscribe to Pet a Story, because every week we go deeper into the lives of the animals most people have never truly understood. We'll see you next week.